I'm Kamon Reynolds. How do we diagnose colonies that are having issues? Let me tell you a story about this colony and one that was sitting next to it, and give you an idea of how we address 3 things that we feel like are the most important for why a colony is not performing like they should. It's really easy for me to be able to know what I should generally be seeing because I have hundreds of colonies. That's why we recommend new beekeepers get at least 2 or 3, so that way you can kind of see what your best ones are doing. Because if your best ones are doing great, then you know that there's that much of an upside that the other ones could be experiencing. This was a colony though that was doing awful, and I had 4 colonies coming out of winter over here that a guy had given me, and 2 of them took off like a rocket last spring, and this one and another one just could not do anything. They just couldn't get out of a deep box, and I was just like, gee whiz, I thought we took care of the mites. And I did an alcohol wash on both of them, and sure enough, the mites were not an issue. There just wasn't hardly any in the alcohol wash at all. And the nutrition was good. We were seeing a bunch of colonies that were really building up strong. There's a lot of nice food in this frame, mainly just honey and a little bit of bee bread. Good little cluster of bees here, though. And these are carnies, so they stay a little bit smaller, and we're a little bit behind, but they're eating this patty well. So I was just like, why are these not taking off like the rest of them? Why are they not building up? You know, we're talking at this point now, we're in mid to late April, and I'm looking at the colonies, and I have colonies that are, 4 or 5 deep boxes, and they're working on making honey. And then I've got these hives, this one and one other one that I've already moved, and they just couldn't make 12 frames of bees to save their life. So it wasn't the mites. We did the alcohol wash, and so I was looking around at the other colonies, and they were doing great. We weren't feeding them. There's nutrition coming in from nature at that point. April's a really good month for us. So I knew it wasn't the nutrition. So we killed both of those queens. And that's the 3rd step. So we go for mites first. We go for nutrition next. And then we go for queens after that, if it's not those other things. And I am seeing some brood down in this frame. Look at that nice cluster of bees right here. They're just, all of our hives are just starting to kick it into gear. I imagine we're going to see some decent brood on the next frame. The hive that was over there at one point, when we killed the queen, we popped in a new queen cell, she came back, and I mean the colony, it just took off like a rocket. That was exactly what we were missing. And within a brood cycle or so, we split that colony. It was so strong. This colony, on its first queen cell, the queen didn't come back for whatever reason. Maybe she was blown off course or eaten. We threw one more queen cell in, and by that time they'd shrank down to probably about 4 frames worth of bees. And they were quite old, so we had to baby them a little bit more. But as you can see, this colony looks pretty good right now. And they are going to make a good honey crop if nothing changes. I'm excited with how many bees are in this cluster, especially for carnies. They're just now starting to turn the jets on. Yeah, here's that capped brood. There you go. So we got some capped brood in here. There's just larvae and eggs from top to bottom in those cells. It's in the 50s today. There's a little bit of a breeze, so I won't keep them out too long. But look at that nice cluster of bees here. Oh, there's the queen right down there. So there's that new queen that came back that I was telling you about. And she's looking really nice. So it was a queen issue. Maybe the queen was running out of sperm. Maybe there was something else going on. Maybe she had gotten some viruses in her system. Queens can, I believe, come down with viruses for sure, and it affects their egg laying production. So it could be a lot of different things, but we finally got that queen cell to take, and this colony looks totally different. It's already stronger 2nd day of March than it was in May of last year. Sometimes your bees are having issues and they're not making those honey crops because they just don't have a good queen that's laying viable brood and laying a lot of it. So that's kind of how we go about things. Let's see if we have a little bit more brood over here. That right there, when all of that brood emerges out of that frame, that is going to be a ton of bees. Oh yeah. And this is just more brood. Look at all those bees, able to warm them. I'm seeing a lot of fuzzy bees, newly emerged bees. So we already have brood emerging out. Got a lot of capped brood right in here. That looks really nice. I'm seeing a bunch of eggs down in there. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Here's a bee emerging out of this cell. They'll let me look at her. You can see that pollen basket right on top. And so the queen's just coming back and laying that up. This just never once, until we requeen this colony, did it look like this. This colony right here, if nothing changes, is going to produce a full honey crop. Now hopefully nature is going to be generous this year. We're going to put some supers on this box. After these frames of brood emerge out, probably one more good round of bees, this hive is going to be super full. We're going to throw that next box on. I don't like throwing on an extra box too early. They lose a lot of that heat, and it's harder for them to keep as much brood down in here. So there's a balance. You don't want to get to it too late, because it won't be long. If we left them like this, these bees would probably be swarming, trying to swarm in the next 3 weeks, no problem. No problem. Yeah, I'm seeing eggs all down in those cells. And just more eggs all over here, and young larvae. They're really clustered up tight up against that brood. These bees are off to the races. I would say minimum, we have 3 full frames of brood going right now. Each frame has about 7,000 cells. So we're talking, if all of that can emerge out, we're talking around 18, 20 something thousand bees right there. And we're in the early part of March. They'll all be out for sure in 21 days. This colony is looking good. But I guarantee you, had we not replaced that queen, we would have lost this colony. Sometimes all you need is to replace that queen. That's why I encourage you all to make splits. If you're not one of those people that want to actually kill a queen, then make a split. Take that old queen, make it into a nuke, and if she's able to continue to build that little nuke up and run through winter and do a good job, then great. But if not, you've requeened your original colony with a brand new queen. You keep things young. That's how bees do it. Queens don't last as long as what a lot of people think. Their performance really goes down quite a bit over time. And yes, a queen can last 3 or 4 years, but does she do a great job for 3 or 4 years? Not hardly. Very, very rare. And it seems like a lot of the people that tell me they have queens that last that long or longer don't mark their queens. They can just tell them by sight. Let me tell you, I've seen thousands of queens, and I'm not good enough to tell you what this queen looked like last time. It's very hard. Very few queens are that distinct, and a lot of times their daughters look just like them or very close. Anyways, I'm going to put this colony back together, but look at all that fine cluster right here, the second day of March. And again, we're behind at least 2 weeks just because it's been cooler this year, but that's okay. The plants are behind as well. Maybe we'll have less of a summer dearth this year. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Less sweaty summer days. I'm all about that. All it took was changing out of a queen. There can be other issues that cause colonies not to thrive. If you have viruses really bad, then it doesn't matter what you do. It can be very hard to fix those colonies. But I have found that whenever I have been able to salvage a colony from viruses, it's always due to low mites, nutrition, and new queens. So great queens, dead mites, good nutrition. That's really the secret serum right there. It's really not a secret, and it's not something that you can buy or anything like that, but it is something that you can do. And I think by and large, if you go by that rule, you're going to have a lot more success in your bees. So we're just throwing these patties on right here to kind of fill in any gaps in poor weather days where the pollen doesn't come in as good, but they are really eating through this stuff. And even though there's some small hive beetle damage here, it's not much. These bees are going to kick those small hive beetle larvae's butts and chuck them out, and they'll probably freeze the rear ends off on these 29, 30 degree nights. I don't know, but it seems to work for us. Look at all those bees popping up right there. This colony is going to be awesome. And I can't wait to take all the bees in this line right here and stick them in a new bee yard, because hopefully we're going to make a lot of honey. So thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions on things that might be keeping your bees a little behind, leave them below. And hey, we're going to have a video Saturday with Natalie, Beekeeping Like a Girl, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Have a live chat and talk about some things you've probably never heard about me, and probably learn some things about a 13-year-old beekeeper too. So hey, we'll see you there. Thanks for watching this video.